Hey fam. Isaiah here. Yours truly Spoiler King. Today we are going to speak about latest movie The Woman King, starring Viola Davis. Before you get into the movie, you guys know the drill. If you enjoy our vids, if you want to see more in future, leave a like and comments below. And also subscribing and hitting that bell is a very real way directly supporting the channel, and it's completely free. And finally, this video will contain movie spoilers. You have been warned. Okay, so let's get into it.
Today I'll explain one of the best movies released in 2022, The Woman King. In an African kingdom lives the people of Dahomey. A new young king, Gizo, has just been crowned in the kingdom. Dahomey's enemies, the Oyo Empire, joined forces with the Mahi people to raid, tame and sell Dahomey's people to European slaves. The Oyo has an advantage with its weapons and horses. Dahomey has bought an elite force of female Amazon warriors, the Agoji, driven by General Naniska, who are brave and set to protect their kingdom. And so the story begins. As the movie begins, we see the soldiers from Mahi gathered around a bonfire. They suddenly hear strange noises, but first, dismiss them as birds. Then a group of warrior women rise from the fields and attack them. The group of female warriors invaded Mahi town, slaughtering the soldiers of the Oyo Empire before coming across the captured villagers and freeing them. During the battle, the Agoji moreover lose some of their warriors, and in the morning they mourn their dead and escort the captives back home. The Migan and Naniska, as called by her people, sees a horseshoe and suspects the Oyo soldiers have something to do with the Mahi people. The warriors return home before more Oyo arrives, where Gizo the king considers Naniska to be his most trusted soldier. Next, we're transported to the beautiful kingdom of Dahomey. A young girl, Nawi, and her friend are in the marketplace, when a sound from afar sends them all running with excitement. The Agoji has returned with the captives. The people bow as they pass, as it is forbidden to look upon them. Naniska seems worried about the death of their victory, so she requests to see the king. Nawi gets home to a big shock. Nawi is brought to an old man who would marry her. When Nawi doesn't respond to the man, he slaps her and Nawi by pushing him hard enough for him to fall over out of his anger. The old man denies to marry her and leaves for showing disrespectful behavior. Nawi's father gets angry and brings her to the Agoji and offers her to the king, saying, "You will know what pain feels like." She is, at that point, taken in by an Agoji warrior, Izoji. In the next scene, Oyo soldiers led by Commander Obade come over the corpses of their comrades. Seeing the dead body, Obade insults his soldiers for letting their fellow officers get murdered by women. And after that, they plan their next move against Dahomey. The next day, Gizo addresses his chamber to talk about the Oyo danger. Naniska believes they can defend against the Oyo Empire, and what prospers them is the selling of their captives to the Europeans, but they cannot continue for what happens when they run out of captives. Naniska moreover brings up the slave exchange and says it casts a dim shadow on their kingdom to be offering off their claimed individuals. She proposes that they bargain in gold or palm oil in exchange. There are many oppositions to this, but the king is willing to give the audience to Naniska if she can prove it's possible to produce oil. Gizo tells Naniska to show him how much palm oil they can create before he makes his decision later. Naniska's right-hand lady, Amenza, addresses the new Agoji recruits. The recruits are prepared for what is required of them and given a last chance to back out if they wish. Then some women leave, but a large group of women, including Nawi, remain. Izoji, at that point, tells Nawi to go bathe. So she does, and while bathing she personally speaks to Naniska. She reveals she's only 19 years old but willing to be a soldier. Naniska says obstinate daughters like her often fail when brought here. The next day the women start their first training, but Nawi does not get it. Why did they start with ropes? Feels she ought to begin with the bladed weapon until Naniska allows her to try on a wooden statue to behead it. But Nawi couldn't make it as the sword was quite heavy for her. But Naniska chops the head off with one swing. At night, Izoji talks to Nawi and tells about how her mother permitted a man to mishandle her until she fought back. The women then continue training afterward on by firing rifles and learning combat aptitudes. Nawi plays a prank where she sets off a small explosive on one of the statues. She takes the blame for it as Naniska chastises her for it. Afterward, Izoji tells Nawi about how Naniska's deeds are considered incredible since she rose to her position after being a captive and left for dead. To be careful what she says or does, especially to Naniska, saying she may very well be the very first woman king they've had in 1,000 years. Later, Amenza visits Naniska in her cabin and then tells her that she sees somebody from Naniska's past coming back for her. Then Naniska observes Nawi practicing her sword-wielding skill on the statue outside. In the morning, the Oyo arrive at the kingdom's gates for a confrontation with Gizo. When Obade steps forward, Naniska gets to be shocked as Obade assaulted her over and over when she was a captive. The Oyo soldiers arrange tributes and complain the tribute is small and ask for 40 Agoji warriors to make up for it, or else the Uda port will no longer be open to the Dahomey people for trade. Although the port belongs to Dahomey, the king agrees to give him 20 Agoji warriors to avoid problems. Naniska chooses the 20 Agoji warriors and now is one of them. Naniska at that moment tells tells Amenza that her vision is true. At the port of Ouidah, the Portuguese settlers arrived in Africa led by Captain Sando Ferreira and his companion Malik, the latter whose mother was Dahomey. When Malik sees the captured locals, he does not seem happy with the slavery while looking around the place. Then the Agoji also arrived. Malik joins the scene as the Agoji stands up to the Oyo. Then Naniska says they will not give them tributes and instead delivers Obadiah the severed heads of his men. Then a battle breaks out between Naniska and Obadiah. Naniska tells her girls to run away, but now he sees an opportunity to free the captives and goes back to help Naniska. Naniska manages to knock the commander down and they both run away. Then they both jump onto the river and join other Agojis. At boat, Naniska chastises Naui for not obeying the rule, but her right hand Amenza secretly tells her that it was she who deviated from the plan as she was more concerned with slaughtering Obadiah. Farah and Malik meet with Obadiah and his soldiers as they're talking about plans for the Oyo to team up with other tribes to attack Dahomey and capture more villagers to sell off. Malik shows up awkwardly with the news. He afterward goes by the water to bathe where he is found by Naui. She blames him for being a slaver, but he denies it and tells her about his Dahomey legacy. He gives her a bit of jewelry to prove his words before she retreats to the others. The other day, the kingdom holds a small competition where the Agoji trainees go through obstacles including thorn bushes, climbing a wall, fighting enemies, and at last beheading one of the statues. Naui comes out as the victor, and Gizo and everyone is so impressed at her performance, recognizing her skill and ability. Afterward, while tending to Naui's wounds, Naniska feels some scars on the girl's arm. Naniska storms off immediately. She goes back to her room and Amenza follows her to inquire about what happened. Naniska had a child and she gave Amenza to do it as she pleases, calling it a burden as she was born by Obadiah's molestation. Naniska is starting to suspect that Naui can be that child. Amenza tells her to calm down. There is no way that child could be Naui. The following day, Farah talks to Gizo about his plans to possibly terminate the homie's part in the slave exchange. Gizo tells him that his wealth comes from the slaves and without them, his kingdom would be nothing and unprotected. Gizo counters that if the Europeans are no longer of use to him, then they're also unprotected. Izoji senses that Naui might like Malik after observing them talking cautiously while Ferrero was talking to Gizo. They afterward meet in secret and Naui gives Malik a totem to keep him secure. When he says that he has nothing to give her back, she takes one of his knives. Naui then goes to bathe and encounters Naniska, who chastises her for sneaking off from Malik. After arguing, Naniska approaches Naui and tells her about the child she gave up. She was a product of assault and Amenza helped Naniska hide her and give her away. Naniska remembers cutting the child's left arm and putting a shark tooth in it. Naniska then cuts into Naui's arm and pulls out the tooth, confirming that Naui is undoubtedly her girl and thus the girl of Obadiah as well. Naui then feels despair and leaves in disbelief. The following morning, Naniska and a few of her warriors keep an eye out on the oil camp. They set fire to their gunpowder and cause multiple blasts, terrifying their horses away and leaving them all helpless. The Agoji dispatch and assault lead to a furious and bloody battle that leaves many Oyo and Agoji dead and leads to a few of the women, including Izoji and Naui, getting captured by the Oyos. Later on a wagon heading away, Naui finds out a woman's ties have come free. She empowers her to roll off the cart and run back to Dahomey and tell them about them. While captive, Naui helps Izoji to fix her broken arm. The young woman returns to Dahomey and informs Naniska about Naui and Izoji and the Oyos' plan to strike back against the Agoji. Gizo promotes Naniska but prohibits her from acting any further, but she and Amenza go behind his back to rescue Naui and Izoji. Then the European slavers come to buy the captives in Oyo's place. Then Malik sees Naui and tries to help her. Then Izoji and Naui start a battle against them. But Izoji lethally is shot and dies in Naui's arms as she moans for her sister. Naui is detained, but Malik goes to visit her and tells her how the captives are bound for Britain and he wishes to insure her. They are implied to form love after. Later, Naniska leads the warriors into the European camp for an attack. They set fire to their camp and assault the men before freeing the captives. Malik then turns on Ferreira and frees the captives, causing them to drag him into the water where they beat him and hold his head underwater until he dies. Naui helps Naniska as she, at last, go to face off against Obadiah. Then a battle begins where the man attempts to defeat Naniska, but she overpowers him and scares him, finally slaughtering him. After the end of the battle, everybody returns home and Naui parts away with Malik as they can't stay together. The next morning, the Agoji return home with their captives and Naniska is confronted by Gizo. While he acknowledges that she disobeyed his orders, he's appreciative of her for finishing the Oyo Empire. After giving a heartfelt speech to his people, Gizmo bestows on Naniska the title of the Woman King to rule the land with him, as per their ancient. Everybody then cheers for her. The whole kingdom celebrates as she takes her seat next to the king. Later, Naui goes to pay tribute to Izoji and she is joined by Naniska. She then addresses Naui as her girl. Now it's time for mother and child to have that heart-to-heart conversation. Now we see how much her existence has caused pain to her mother, leaving her mother with sorry. Naniska is also sorry for giving her away. The two at that point go join the others to dance in celebration and finally hug each other. All is well. That ends well. So that's the end of our movie. Let us know your thoughts on this movie. If you've come this far, make sure to give a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. See you later. Tune in for more movie moments.